Have you ever wondered how a simple object can carry such great meaning in a story? Well, in today's video, I'm going to talk about using symbolism in your writing. What is symbolism in writing? Well, symbolism is a way to add depth and meaning without outright stating it. An example of this would be a wedding ring. A wedding ring symbolizes commitment, marriage. And so that is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about symbolism. Symbolism helps the reader make associations. An example of this would be to give your villain a scar on his face, that it can be an association. Another example of this, you can be used symbolism for foreshadowing. For example, if a really bad storm is coming, you can talk about the big dark clouds that are on the horizon. And so that adds foreshadowing. It can be challenging to use symbolism in your writing because you don't want it to be preachy or forced, and you really don't want it to be too obvious or too subtle because both of those are not good. Tip number one is when you write the first draft of your story, focus on writing really good, well developed characters and applying all of the elements of story and creating a very compelling first draft. Then, when you go to the revise and rewrite stage, you look for places to add symbolism to this beautiful, well composed story that you've developed. Tip number two is make sure that you have a good mix of not only common symbols, but also creative and unique symbols. When you use common symbols, you are tapping into a shared experience with the reader, and the reader will very quickly pick up on the symbolism. When you use an original or a creative symbol that's unique to your story, that adds a lot of depth to your story. An example of this would be a red rose that pretty universally represents love. Another example of this from literature is The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. Now, in The Scarlet Letter, Hester Prynne is marked. She has to wear a red A on her clothing, and it represents how the community sees her. It represents her sin that she has to carry with her, and it sets her apart. Now, by the end of the book, that red letter A represents something much different. It represents her independence, and it represents actually a good thing at the end of the book. Make sure you like and subscribe and hit that bell notification so you don't miss any future videos. Tip number three, when using symbolism in your writing, is to keep in mind the culture and the setting of your story because some symbols mean different things in different cultures. An example of this is in the Irish culture, a harp represents national identity and pride. However, the harp is used as a symbol of wisdom in ancient Greek art. Another example would be in the United States and many European countries, white represents purity. But in India, the purity is represented by red. And number four, you can use symbolism to help with show, don't tell. You can use it to set the mood, to express emotion, and to develop your characters. A really good example of this is Edgar Allan Poe's poem, The Raven. In that poem, the raven's knocking on the door persistently. It represents a lot of things. It represents his constant and his anguished grief over the death of his beloved Lenore. And it also sets the mood and expresses emotion. Here are some examples of common symbols that can really enhance your storytelling. A heart can be the symbol of love or devotion. Flowers can symbolize an apology. The letter X might symbolize danger. A dog might symbolize companionship, or a scar might symbolize someone's painful past. Water can be a symbol that can represent life or purification or renewal. And the image of a serpent can evoke like danger or sin or wisdom, depending on, of course, the location of your story. A well placed symbol in a scene can change the interpretation of the scene dramatically. It can also give the reader an aha moment without the author directly stating it. You can also use symbolism to add greater emotional impact to your story. Try incorporating symbolism into your writing. And I would love to hear from you in the comments sections. What is your favorite symbol? Thanks for joining me, and I'll catch you in the next video.